I'll wait for 7 o'clock exam. I see an August 5th, 2020 date on the note on the post. Check your Facebook post. Okay, whatever. Call this meeting into order. Good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Imperial City Council. Today is August 19th, 2020. And we are coming out of closed session and beginning this open session meeting. It is being simulcast or streamed, if you will, on Facebook as well. Would you all please stand for the flag salute? Chief, if you would do the honor, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In order to protect our constituents, city officials, and city staff, the city requests that all members of the public follow California Department of Health Service guidelines and the County of Imperial health orders. If you choose to attend this meeting in person, you're going to be required to maintain appropriate physical distance between yourself and other individuals. If you move on within that 6-foot distance, you're going to be required to put on your mask as you move around the room. We strongly encourage everyone who can to watch these meetings online and participate via our live stream. Public comments are always welcome as long as they are submitted by 5 p.m. on the date of the meeting. Do we have any public comments submitted via email tonight? Okay, thank you very much. Also, pursuant to Executive Order N-2920 by Governor Gavin Newsom, we are notifying you that this meeting may include teleconference participation, and in this case, City Council member Amparano is out of town and will be participating virtually. He is visible on our live feed. Please take roll.
Councilmember Alvarado?
Present.
Councilmember Dale?
Here.
Councilmember Eugenio?
Here.
Councilmember Tucker?
Here. Here. Are there any adjustments to this agenda at this time? Thank you. And are there any announcements of actions taken in closed session, Mr. Morita?
Mr. Mayor, there was no reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you. We are now at public appearances. For matters not appearing on the agenda, we would invite participants to be recognized by the council and to introduce themselves, state their name. We reserve the right to limit the time if necessary. We do have one special public appearance this evening that was not agendized, but is present in the room. Commander, if you would like to come up and introduce yourself. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And ladies and gentlemen of the City of Imperial City Council, Captain Bill Perkins, good to see you all again. It's a great day to be in naval aviation. And I wanted to just give you a little bit of insight as to what we've been dealing with out at the base, and then kind of talk about some things. I can stick around afterwards for any further questions. But the men and women on the base are really operating at full out tempo right now. We are back to full mission capability. I look around the ramp. Today it's full. There are 3 different services of the Department of Defense that have airframes across the base doing different missions around the area. So that's kind of what we're dealing with, and we're way up here at the workload. First, I'd like to offer my thanks to you. We share many of the same challenges, and we've watched how you've approached some of the same problem sets, the things you've had to work through, and so I appreciate your willingness to allow me to observe from the sidelines and use how you've handled problems to inform how we will handle problems. In many ways, the Navy is informed by, not necessarily aligned with, what the local community is doing. And that's based on my 2 priorities: executing our mission, protecting our workforce during the conduct of our mission. So my mission essential people will change week to week based on the demand load of the base and how busy we are at this thing. So things will move around quite a bit. I assess we're in this for the long term. We're not really seeing any off ramps in the near term. So we have had to figure out how are we going to sustain our operations and sustain our mission execution, long term. So that's going to have me starting to deviate from where the local community is shortly. To get my folks working long term, mental health and physical fitness drive resiliency. Resiliency of the force is what I need to maintain so that they can continue to do their mission. So for that reason, and because the personal individual health protection measures that we've asked our force to implement, masks, distancing, cleaning of contact surfaces, doing all those same things that you've asked your folks to do, I've been able to keep the base clean. And because of that, we're able to start opening up some selective service to drive after physical fitness, mental wellness of our force to the active duty component so that they can continue to execute our mission. We're making those initial steps over the last couple of weeks. The key to the next few months, I think, is continued collaboration between my staff and the local community. My doc, our public health emergency officer, is well embedded with the leadership of pioneers in the ECRMC regarding emergency medical planning. And our fire and emergency chiefs are also well embedded with mutual aid as things have popped up throughout the last couple of months. So I'm very happy that that's working, and I'd like to request your continued support to continue those. And finally, the men and women of NAFL Centro, thank you for your support during a dynamic transition time. We've now opened up the rotation of forces. So we're now seeing new people start to move in as the Navy's kind of got its feet underneath us, and now we can safely move people from one part of the country to another to execute the next duty assignment. So that's got new families been arriving the last couple of weeks, and your help with housing and your help with as the schools open up and the continued communication is very much appreciated from my side. So that's what I have. I will be happy to stick around offline if you have any questions afterwards. Thanks again for the opportunity to address you.
Could ask just one or two clarifying questions real quick. You mentioned a couple of things there that have obviously been hot button issues for us at previous meetings and things we're discussing tonight. You mentioned mental health and physical fitness. Have you been able to, on the base, do some limited access to physical fitness facilities for your staff, for your soldiers and sailors?
We have, but it's been extremely limited. It follows very similar guidelines to what the CDC has been publishing for nationwide use.
Okay.
And we have a consistent medical and my inspections of that. And it's very limited only to our active duty because I'm trying to maintain the risk.
Sure. And
I'm trying to make sure that the reason we're doing it and accepting that risk is for the mission accomplishment objective.
Absolutely. What about religious services on base? Are you been able to provide those for your sailors?
Right now, we are still virtual in that area.
Okay.
Because we are aware that a higher risk transmission comes with gatherings. So we have additionally the heat out here is not caused.
Can't do outdoor.
Hey,
No.
I don't really have that demand signal right now to restart outdoor services, and we're just not quite there for indoor gatherings yet. So.
And what about some of the recreational facilities on base? Have you been able to make those available to active duty as well?
Some of them and some of them no. It kind of depends on what the need is. Does the need drive toward that the resiliency and that physical fitness? So they're kind of case by case.
Okay, that's fair. Appreciate that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you and keep up the safe work.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other public comments for matters not appearing on our agenda this evening? Is there anybody in the other room?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. That takes us now to item C2 under public appearances. This would be on matters appearing on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address this council on any of the matters that we have on the agenda this evening, the microphone is now available. Please.
Good evening, Council. Appreciate you guys again. So wanted to just mention a few things real quick regarding the potential reopening of this city, this great city. You might see I got a haircut from the last time I was in here. I got that in Texas. So while I was in Texas, I was looking for new properties to move my gym to.
Oh, no.
So this is a real thing. And the county needs to understand this is a real thing. The county needs to do something. This is a real thing. Been shut down for 5 months. Other counties, they've had a chance to open up. We have not had that chance. We haven't been able to invoice for a month. We've just been out the money. We are literally out hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. I'm not gonna say the exact amount because it's nobody's business, but it's a lot of revenue. Like I said in the last meeting, thank the good Lord, I don't rely on that money. You know, I don't rely on that to feed my family. So thank God for that. But I don't know if anybody saw or not, but today's 7-day average went down to 7.6%.
Yes.
So that's the first time it's been under 8%. That's really good news. And that's with all the fake tests. So imagine, you know, maybe we'll be able to get to that under 8% for 14 days straight. You know, we'll see. A lot of fake tests still out there. Oh, tenants. We've lost 3 tenants now. We've had 3 tenants from our building pull out, and they're not going to reopen. They can't afford it. So the city of Imperial has lost 3 businesses just in my building since this thing happened. You know, I know it's not your guys' fault. Everybody here is trying, and man, I'm telling you how much we appreciate it. We really appreciate everything that you guys are fighting for. The last point I wanted to throw in real quick was this week I got a nice little bill in the mail. Anybody take a guess what that bill was? Personal property tax from the county. So everyone who owns a business understands you got to pay your property taxes on your personal property. Gym is no exception. I got to pay taxes on our gym equipment every year. Well, guess what? Why am I going to pay the county taxes on my gym equipment that they forced me to shut down? They say, oh, it's a state. No, BS. We're shut down. We're shut down. I should not be paying personal property tax on equipment that we can't use. So the county stands to get tens of millions of dollars by keeping us closed. Are they going to give us any of that money to help pay for those property taxes? You know, that's just the personal property tax, not even the actual building property taxes. What about those taxes? You know, we spend $20,000, $30,000 a year in building taxes on that building, plus these personal property tax bills. I mean, I think it's fair that those of us that have been shut down this entire time without being able to be reopened, I think it's fair that the county waives those taxes. I don't think we should have to pay those. How am I going to pay those?
Right.
You know, hey, county, do you guys take Capital One? Because that's how I'm going to have to pay it. You know, maybe I'll get some rewards for it. You know, I really hope they're listening because this is nonsense. We need to open, and once again, really appreciate your guys' effort here. This is a great board, great staff, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how you guys vote. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I will share this, that, you know, at the council level, we have had conversations about ways we can help businesses. And among the conversations we've had have been forgivenesses and grant programs and things like that. I would love to see the county board take up what you're raising. I think you're right. You have businesses that have been shut down for 5 months, to give them a bill in the middle of all that saying, hey, by the way, you know, I know they need their revenue, but at the same time, maybe some forgiveness on some of these things makes some sense. Funny how we can forgive other things and not forgive debts that we're causing people to incur.
If you think they need the revenue, how do you think we feel?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. That's the point.
They are the only ones that stand to get money out of this thing. The county is going to get tens of millions of dollars. I've heard different amounts. I don't know what the true amount is because I'm not at those meetings. But if they're going to get tens of millions of dollars, they need to help out these businesses. And I'm not talking about $5,000 here and there. $5,000 to a business is nothing.
Right.
We got the PPP. Guess what I did? I used it as a responsible business owner. I paid my employees. So that money's gone.
Yeah.
We got a third of what our monthly gross revenue is for PPP. That money was gone. It was gone. And me and my partner Andrew, who actually showed up to the meeting today, we've been having to take care of the rest of the debt. And it's ridiculous.
It is. And it shows the depth of your character that you've been looking out for your employees that way. And I do applaud that.
Well, they're laid off now, but
Well,
we did what we
you
could as long as we
You
could.
did what you could.
Yes.
And that's all we can ask. And I hope other people are listening, and I hope they will take steps to help you out as well. I know we're going to take the steps we can take. So
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Give her just a moment to get cleared for you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Brendan Brown. I'm the founder of Reps for Vets, where we provide health and wellness and support to veterans that are diagnosed with PTSD or suffering from substance abuse to prevent veteran suicide. In caveat to that, I am also the Imperial County representative of the Mental Health Advocacy Council through the Veteran Affairs Department. I just want to bring to the city and the county's attention that since our last meeting 2 weeks ago, an average of 308 veterans have killed themselves in the United States. With that being said, here in Imperial County, we have, according to the last 2018 census, 5,500 veterans here in Imperial County alone. From my experience, personally, with the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis, the first sign of a veteran to take their life is isolation. To be isolated. It's the first thing that they do. And to be forced into an isolated situation for 5 months, they're talking about letting us open at low risk. How about putting us into a high risk suicide situation? So with that being said, I would highly recommend that the county, the city, and even our governor to consider what the pros and cons of this situation really is, and what the real science really is, and what is it really, really worth for what we're doing. There are kindergartners who have never been to school, don't know how to read or write, having to look at a laptop. It's wrong. It's un-American. And I will speak up for those that can't be here right now and let them know it's not what we fought for, to be exploited and taken advantage of. And I'll be straight, the first week or so, I believe we had to be careful and we had to tread water. But being someone that's dealt with psychological warfare and psyops, it's obvious that we've been forced fear and anxiety down our throat for another agenda. I'm not here to get into politics, but what I am saying is that people are dying due to drug abuse, suicide, alcoholism, there's domestic violence, and for what? Fake tests. So with that being said, I really pray for everyone who's involved in this situation that we can meet in the middle and support each other and come together and unite to get through this together. And not have an opposition that's just going to be bad one way or the other. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Just to respond real quick while we're getting everything cleaned. On that kindergarten issue, we have a councilwoman who has a kindergartner this year. She's having to get her started in school with those same problems. And I have a wife who's teaching kindergarten this year. And let me tell you, the anxiety and the fear related to figuring out how to teach kindergartners who have never held a pencil how to respond to a Zoom conversation is destroying her health. So no, you're right. It's a nightmare. And I appreciate you recognizing that element of it as well. And we're right there with you.
Yeah, I just picked up all my daughter's materials for kindergarten yesterday, and there was a stack this high. What in the world? I'm a college professor now. I have 100 students and a kindergartner at home that I have to teach all at once in this new format that we're all trying to formulate. But we're still expected to work and do our jobs, but then we're also teachers as well. For me, luckily I've done it, but not everyone has. And you're right, it's an odd place to be in.
Yeah.
Never imagined that this is what our kindergarten year would look like. So.
Yeah, I mean, so we hope and pray that we can find a way to move things forward. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments at this time from the public on any item appearing on this agenda? Okay, I see none. So with that, we will then close public appearances. Move to item D, the consent agenda. These are items that are all considered as one motion and acted upon by the council at that time. Does any board council member wish to pull anything for separate comment, or do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Please poll the council.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Councilmember Dale,
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
and Mayor Bechtel.
Yes. This brings us to item E. These are action items for discussion and possible approval or disapproval. Item E1 is the discussion action on a resolution providing guidance to businesses in the city of Imperial. For the record, I'm going to pre-read this resolution before we go into any further discussion, so anybody observing online is familiar with exactly what we are discussing. We don't normally do that, but since we're doing a different format of meetings, we should. So here is the resolution to be discussed and considered. This is resolution number 52, the resolution of the City Council of the City of Imperial, providing guidance to businesses in the city which are currently closed due to state executive order. Whereas the City Council of the City of Imperial declared a local state of emergency based upon the COVID-19 pandemic on March 18, 2020, and whereas on March 19, 2020, Governor Newsom issued Executive Order N3320, which directed all residents to stay at home except as needed to maintain continuity of operations of essential critical infrastructure sectors and additional sectors as the state public health officer might designate as critical to protect health and well-being of all Californians. And whereas the state public health officer thereafter designated a list of essential critical infrastructure workers, also known as the essential workforce, and whereas the essential workforce list identifies various sectors to include health and public health, emergency services, food and agriculture, energy, water and wastewater, transportation and logistics, communications and information, government operations, critical manufacturing, financial services, chemical defense, industrial base, industry, chemical, commercial, residential, and sheltering facilities and services. And whereas businesses not deemed essential were required to be closed. And whereas over time, the essential workforce model has demonstrated itself to be patently unfair. Let me repeat that. Whereas over time, the essential workforce model has demonstrated itself to be patently unfair. And whereas the city is witness to countless examples of businesses allowed to operate because they are deemed essential, while businesses which could be operated in a manner which would pose no greater risk than an essential business are left to ponder their very existence. And whereas the city firmly supports the rule of law and respects the authority of the state of California and the county of Imperial to address matters of public health. And whereas the city believes that criminalizing the behavior of businesses in the limited circumstance found in the city of Imperial is counterproductive and serves only to alienate the very population the city is sworn to protect and serve. And whereas the city finds and directs that utilization of its limited resources is best deployed for the purpose of providing information and education about best practices to conduct business in a manner which protects workers and customers. And whereas if a business in the city of Imperial elects to operate, the city strongly encourages the business to strictly adhere to industry guidance developed by the California Department of Health and COVID-19 Employer Playbook dated July 18, 2020. And whereas activity and exercise has been shown to alleviate the stress associated with stay-at-home orders, and whereas COVID19.ca.gov contains links to provide emotional well-being and support, including reference to 24-hour suicide prevention and domestic violence hotlines. And whereas the City Council believes and finds that its parks can be utilized in a manner that assists and supports its citizens to address emotional and physical issues associated with the stay-at-home orders by, for example, physical distancing, taking part in activities outdoors only with members of your household and face coverings. Whereas the City Council further believes and finds that personal care services and fitness facilities can assist and support its citizens, specifically the first responder essential workforce community, to address emotional and physical health associated with their employment. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows. Number one, the above referenced recitals are true and correct and are incorporated herein. Number two, the City Council finds and declares that the essential workforce model has outlived whatever use it may once have had, and therefore encourages the County of Imperial and State of California to devote its energies to providing information and resources to the creation and maintenance of healthy and safe workplaces. Number 3, the City Council encourages its staff to continue to utilize its limited resources to educate, inform, and otherwise assist all businesses to operate. Well, again, assist all businesses to operate in accordance with best practices to set forth by the California Department of Public Health, the Imperial County Department of Public Health, and the Center for Disease Control. Staff is also encouraged to continue its information and education efforts relative to social gatherings and public use of city parks. Now, in all that wordiness, it's possible to miss the point. So it's back in number 3, where we want our city staff to continue to utilize our limited resources to educate, inform, and otherwise assist all businesses to operate. That is the introduction of the resolution. I wanted to make sure that everybody got to know the wording of it, with the emphasis being mine, not the council's, until they take action. With that, we'll now open this to discussion from the council members. Is there any discussion regarding this item tonight and what action we should be taking?
Okay. I been working back and forth with discussions today with some county officials. Tonight, I wanted to pull the trigger. As a lot of you have seen my post on Facebook this week, I've been very critical of this, and I was ready to pull the trigger tonight. I understand that the county will be meeting directly with the state tomorrow afternoon, and I feel at this time, and I know this board knows that I'm the kind that shoots from the hip, but I think we need to wait till tomorrow, continue this to Friday, and give the county their due. Especially, I know they're under a tremendous amount of stress. We're under stress, nothing like what they're going through. But I would like to bring something up tonight, just for food for thought for people. A lot of people said that what I was doing was political. And by God, it was political. And I hope there is more council members throughout the state that would do the same things I'm doing. But here's some things to just think that's food for thought that's interesting. Here's where I know this has become political, this whole thing. There's no question, and I believe that COVID-19 is real. But I think they've blown this up for personal reasons or political reasons. And I'm going to say that because I can give you proof right now. If we can allow people to protest peacefully and destroy a damn town, 20,000 people, crawling over the top of one another, and the politicians say that that's okay. They're peacefully protesting. You could get on an airplane. One of our council members that's in Florida right now got on a red eye the other night, completely full, and I think that's a 5-hour flight to Florida from here. And there were seats that people were sitting on top of one another. If you sat at a Boeing, maybe it was an Airbus. Airbus, you get a couple more inches. But the bottom line is they're crawling over one another. And you tell me you can't get COVID from that. This is ridiculous. And then you tell our business owners that they can't do business? That's hypocrisy. And it's wrong. And these politicians, I hope to God, pay for this someday, because this is criminal. It's not just something that's political, it's criminal. And they need to pay for it, whether it be karma or they're going to end up paying for it in votes, whatever it is. The one thing that I also really gripes my butt, and I don't understand this either. Again, you can have 250 people in an airplane crawling all over one another. Why can't a church be open on Sunday? That makes no sense. The 1918 pandemic, not one church was shut down. It was worse than this. I've heard stories about people that contracted it in the morning, and by evening, right here in Imperial, they died. Now that's serious. They were burying people in mass graves with no headstones, people. Here in Imperial Valley, we've never seen that. Not one day. Not mass graves. And to shut everything down and put people out of business, you know, it amazes me. I see people make comments about this stuff that, again, politically, and you don't know what you're talking about. Well, you know what? I do know what I'm talking about. I've been in business my whole life. And the people that are quick to talk, they've never, ever owned a brick and mortar business. They probably never signed a front of a check. That's the reason why I'm so angry about this, because it's affected me. It's affected my friends and family. Now, let's forget all of that. Why isn't the news talking about the people that are committing suicide and mental illness? They're not talking about any of that. Look it up. It's going to be way worse than COVID ever was. That's my opinion. I look forward to Friday, but I think we need to push it off till Friday.
Okay, so is that a motion from you at
That's
this
a
time
motion.
to push it to Friday? Okay. Before we continue further comments, is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you, appreciate that. So before we go to vote, I'm going to ask if there's any other members of the council that would like to address this topic before we move on and see if we're going to be moving this till Friday. Mr. Amparano, you're long distance.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I do have a comment. You know, I looked at the numbers. I was showing the numbers. I was explaining the numbers. It's all great, but it still doesn't do anything for our businesses. It still doesn't do anything for our residents. It still doesn't do anything for our city. They're still shut down. This means we're going into stage 2, which means what? Just a little bit better than we are now, which still is nothing. You know, you're right, Jeff. I was on an airplane, and the person next to me wasn't 12 inches away, wasn't 6 feet away. Actually, we were almost shoulder to shoulder.
Absolutely.
And you know, and that's because I had nice seats, so I got a little bit of extra room. But there was no screenings, there was no cleaning, there was no, you know, we're here to take care of you. I've seen our businesses in the city of Imperial, what they have done and the measures they've taken to take care of their patrons. You know, I've walked in to 2 different gyms in the city and seen what they've done. If some of the places that I've visited lately were to take those measures, we'd be in a better world. We'd be in a better situation, but we're not. I know we keep saying, let's wait to see what the county does. Let's wait to see what the county does. I just keep saying, how long are we going to wait? We're giving them what they want. They say, you know, Jeff, you're right. This is political. It is. And that's the last thing I want to make this. Somebody was telling me the other day that this was all based about money. City doesn't make anything of some of these businesses for taxes. You know, Mr. Robertson was talking about paying his property taxes. They don't go to the city. He pays them to the county. So what do we have in it? What we have is, my explanation to that was, what I don't want is these people that have worked hard to maintain their businesses open, to stay open, to stay alive. I don't want our unemployment rates to go up. I don't want people to start losing their stuff. I don't want Imperial to become a ghost town. I want Imperial to stay the #1 city in the state of California. I don't want to lose that, because we are the #1 city. We are a great city. We have great people. We have great residents. But at this rate, what the state is doing to us and the county is doing, we need a little bit more help. We need to move this forward. So I just think that we really need to look at this and think real hard what we got to do, because not a lot of our businesses can last a lot longer. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. Amparano.
Can I make a point real quick?
Sure, real quick. Go ahead.
Thank you, Robert, because you were spot on. It's interesting too that we have to remember this last week, how many people resigned from the state because of issues with numbers? So how do we know what the numbers are? And to think you're going to tank economies over, as we've said from day one, I think a lot of this is a scam. I'm just going to say it, but that's what it is.
Thank you. James, anything from you?
No, just commenting on moving it till Friday, listen to the county's comments tomorrow, then we'll move forward on Friday, because I don't think it's not gonna make much of a difference what they decide tomorrow, because they're still not letting businesses open, so
Not all of them.
we're just stalling for a day, but we're gonna come back strong and we gotta vote.
Thank you.
It is also giving the county their due.
Right.
And again, that was the only thing I'll disagree with you, Robert, is it's not all the county's fault.
No, and it's not, Jeff, and you're right. We got to give the county their due.
I think this directly comes from the state, comes from our legislators, because legislators should have I'd like to say what they should have. I don't think they have, but should do, and they don't. I guess they cater to people that don't have business.
Thank
And, and I also have those friends at the county level. I might not have them after this because of comments that I've made, but it is what it is. But yeah, let's give them their due. Maybe we do got to listen out and see what they have. And if not, then we do what we got to do.
Thank you.
Right.
Corinne?
Yeah, I've been conflicted, obviously, through this whole thing. There's so many different directions to look at when making these decisions, but today's county update really was really clarifying to me. I was ecstatic to hear that 7.6 metric. We've been waiting for that. And when I heard it, I thought, we can celebrate, we can move on, right? We're gonna open. I sent a message to my sister going, we met the metric, we're gonna open. And I was so disheartened to watch the rest of the update to hear that at this point, nothing is going to happen. And whatever might happen is going to be such a small change that it's not even going to feel like anything happened for us. We can't take advantage of outdoor spaces. None of our businesses can do anything outside at this point. So that doesn't mean anything to us. So I'm really disappointed in the progress that we're making, or the progress that we're not making, actually. To follow up on some of the things that Jeff said, there are so many agendas at work right now. And like the quote goes, never let a good crisis go to waste. We're seeing that on so many levels. And people have become addicted to the funding, right? They're disregarding the fact that people are losing their businesses.
Yep.
And they're taking advantage of the funding that we're getting because of the alleged suffering that we're enduring, right? So those are the politics that are happening. That's what we've been susceptible to, and that's why our businesses are closing. So I'm fine with giving the county the time to meet with the state until Friday, but after Friday, I'm done. I'm done waiting, and I'm ready for us to proceed and for our businesses to get a chance to recover.
Before I call the question on postponing this to Friday or moving forward with it now, I'm going to share with you $245,794. $245,794. That's how much money our city is expecting to get from the CARES Act. And that's how much money we anticipate that Sacramento will take away from us if we move forward and let all of our businesses open. That's what they did to Atwater, what they did to Coalinga. They lost about $600,000. And their city leaders correctly said, our businesses are worth more than that to us. Their families are worth more than that to us. I personally feel that the city of Imperial is worth a hell of a lot more than $246,000. And I'm willing to sacrifice that if the governor wants to extort that from us because we don't want to follow his commands. I'm done. I'll be perfectly frank. I'm done with the county. The county's expecting some $18 million in these same CARES Act funds. But why aren't they speaking up on behalf of the county's businesses? Why aren't they speaking up on behalf of the county's families? Yeah, they're waiting for the metrics to get better, but they're not doing a damn thing for people to let them get back to work. They're saying let the numbers come down so we can open more safely. But they can't give us simple data that tells us whether or not people are getting sick because they're working. In 5.5 months, we have not seen a single report from the county health department that tells us where the infectious sources are. Are they coming across from Mexico? Are they starting at a meat plant in Brawley? Are they happening out of Walmart or Vaughn's? We don't know. We hear stories from our neighbors. Hey, Vaughn's is closed because somebody got sick and they had to close down to clean it. We haven't seen that from Lowe's, from Home Depot. You're going to tell me they haven't had anybody get it? If that's true, that means the masks, the shielding, and the 6 feet apart works, even in stores where people aren't following it. We don't know where all of these cases are coming from because the county has not been able to determine where they're coming from. So either they're incapable or they're unwilling to tell us. And in either case, I'm unwilling to wait for them. I'm tired of it. Our businesses, my friends in this city who are trying to make a living and support their families, need that chance to do it. Those people who need to be able to get out and exercise, who need to be able to go to church and worship for their own social, emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual well-being, need those opportunities. And we can't continue to be held hostage by a state government that doesn't care about Imperial County and never has. And we can't be held back by county leaders who are not willing to give up a little money to help people get a life back on pace. So I'm not sympathetic with the county's needs. I'll be perfectly frank. I'm tired of waiting for them to speak up on our behalf and to quit starting every sentence about Imperial County with, I'm sorry. They need to step up. We're going to. The motion has been made to table this till Friday. The whole point of that is because the county has a meeting and they have a chance to move the whole county to level 2. We don't want to penalize every city in this county by being a bad mark on that meeting. We don't want state officials looking at our county negotiators going, well, look at what your city of Imperial is doing. You can't keep them, so no, you can't move to level 2. So let them have their meeting tomorrow. Let them try and move our county to level 2. God, I hope they can. I wish they had the balls to go further, but I hope they can get them to level 2. And then we'll be back here on Friday, and we'll look at closing the gap for our businesses and saying to our level 3 and 4 businesses and our level 2 high-risk businesses, we care about you too. And we care about you more than $274,000 is worth. Or $245,000, whatever it was I said. So, you matter, Imperial. We care. And we're tired of waiting for other people, but we're going to give them one more day. And then we'll be back here Friday to take a vote on this. Do I have a vote on the motion that's been moved and seconded to postpone this final decision till Friday at 5 p.m.? We have a motion and a second. Please poll the council.
I'm going to go with you guys. Yes.
Councilmember Dale?
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio?
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker?
Yes.
Like Robert, with misgivings, I'll say yes, we'll wait till Friday. And we'll move on now to item 2 on our agenda.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I say that because I want to stand united instead of divided.
Amen. So this will be back on the agenda on Friday at 5 p.m. We will be taking action on this resolution. We'll be making sure everybody is aware of it.
Thank you.
Item E2, discussion action, declare an emergency at Highway 86 and Dayton Road. I'm calling for a motion on the resolution number 2020-53 to declare an emergency and authorize the city manager to take action to repair a collapsing drain manhole at Highway 86 and Dayton Road. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Do we have any report to clarify what this will involve before we vote?
Yes, Mr. Shelf is present to fill in detail, but what was discovered is that there's something obstructing the flow of sewer to the Clark Road lift station. When the manhole was uncovered, it was also discovered that there were issues with the pipes, and so and it wasn't the sort of situation as we've seen, seems like regularly recently with manholes that was deteriorated to the point that we come to you with this emergency resolution. So that's what's going on with this manhole. It'll be we learned of a 10-day delay on receiving the parts that we need to effectuate the repair. But as soon as those parts are in, they'll be installed. Mr. Self is also available if there's other questions.
Mr. Self, right now, I just want to reassure the public, there's no danger that we know of at this point of that giving way due to traffic going over that manhole at this time?
Not at this time. But the structure is failing and is showing what the situation was is that there's the two force mains that come from Sandalwood down to the Clark lift station. They ran the cast pipes through a manhole that runs up to the Claypool, and those through the gases deteriorated. So the clogging is, the pipes that have fallen apart and blocking the lines, and then so the sewer is no longer going to the Clark lift station, so it's overwhelming the Claypool, which runs basically 24 hours a day right now, nonstop.
Wow. Okay. And once this equipment comes in with roughly 2 weeks, how long are we estimating the repair to take?
The estimation is 5 days, but we're hoping for 3 days, and we're trying diligently to refrain from having to shut down any of the businesses' entryways. We're doing the best that we can to not have to shut down anybody. The only one that may be affected at this point would be Sunbelt, and we're doing our best to try to keep them open.
I appreciate that. One more question then. Roughly how many lanes are we going to be looking at having to close on either Ayton or on the highway during this repair project for those 3 to 5 days?
On the 86, if need be, we'll be shutting down the furthest east lane that runs north on 86, but that's not necessarily expected 100%, but we will be closing down all the lanes on Ayton Road. That's just for safety and because the movement of the equipment in that area and the size of the hole that we're going to have to get into will be pretty large. And actually we're probably 99% we're going to end up shutting down the northbound lane on 86.
Let's at least be grateful IVC is not in operation, because that would have been a real bottleneck. So.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, we will be posting a traffic plan and making sure that the businesses are all noticed as to when this will occur. It's dependent on the parts availability, but we'll make sure to be very communicative with the public in that area.
If we can get flashers out there, our digital signboards out there to kind of let people know, once we have a clearer date on when this will start and and stretch it out for the 5 days, this will be closed from this date to this date. That'll help people at least plan their rerouting.
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, good luck, Robert.
Will this be just a daily operation, or is this operation going to run 24 hours until it's done?
As far as I know, it'll just be the 8-hour shifts essentially, with probably a little bit of overtime, but there won't be 24-hour process now.
After that 8-hour shift or a little overtime or whatever time frame is being worked on, will lanes be returned to normal, or is it going to be a hard closure until it's done?
It'll be a hard closure.
Okay.
Unless we can do something otherwise, but yes, right now it's gonna be a hard closure.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for Mr. Self or anybody else? We have a motion and a second. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Councilmember Dale,
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
Mayor Peckel.
Yes. Item E3, discussion action, the status, we're going to get a status update on the emergency repairs at the intersection of Highway 86 and Neckel. As I understand, this is the mandatory update that we have to do at every meeting while we are waiting for the new equipment to come in for that intersection stoplight, correct?
Yes, once you declare an emergency, the law requires that we have a meeting, an update every so often. And with the way the law is written, that would require us to have one at every meeting, since we meet every other week.
Has anything changed at that intersection?
I don't believe so. I think we're waiting for the controller that will allow the not have it be timed, which is what I.
So,
what I
but
think is
nothing
going
new,
on.
it's just, that's all it is. With that, do I have a motion to continue the emergency at the intersection of Highway 86 and Nepal?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second from Amparano and Tucker. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Councilmember Dale,
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
Mayor Peckel.
Yes. Item E4, Town Site Park Project Grant Application. This one sounds kind of good. We're looking for approval of Resolution 2020-54, authorizing the application for statewide park development and community revitalization grant funds. Do we have a report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the city is requesting your approval of the resolution before you so we can apply for the fourth round of Prop 68 statewide park program funding. It is our objective to apply for the full 8.5 million for a project located across the Imperial High School between that and Ben Holtz, which is currently the Imperial pool site. It's about a 3¼ acre. We will be doing this as a joint application with the school district. This will be a complete community-driven project, right down to the name. For the time being, we are calling it Town Site because it is within the Town Site division of Imperial here. And we're looking forward to the outcome of the outreach that we'll be conducting through our Parks Department. This is part of a bigger plan that will consist of the formerly known as the Regional Park and Equestrian Center. That is now the Imperial Community Park. We will be working with the school district for a sort of land swap where they will be working with us to put either a high school out in that area or potentially a elementary and junior high. That's to be determined, but we're excited for the growth north of Imperial.
So just to clarify for the public that's listening in who may not have heard about this, I know the school board's talked about this already as well, yes?
Yes, the school board did have a meeting last Thursday, and we look forward to working out the details with them on the joint facility uses.
Very excited then that we can talk about the idea that we may be swapping some land that we have that we can give to the school district to use to build a school. And they're going to give us control. We're going to take over ownership of the land surrounding and the included swimming pool. And that will now become a city facility. And then with these grant funds, we can use that to revitalize that, improve the swimming pool, hopefully enlarge it to a more competition size, renew it, that sort of thing.
Yes, that is the objective, and the amenities that will be included in that area will be, again, completely community driven. The State Parks Office has come up with a very comprehensive plan of allowing the community within a 2-mile radius of the land to really dictate, because that's considered walkable.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to getting the feedback from our residents.
4 years ago when Robert and I were first running for council, and I know the swimming pool was a hot topic of discussion then. I know my daughter swam in that with teams for many years. It was a very big, important thing for me to see something happen there. Unfortunately, the school couldn't do much with their bonding as they spent their money on other facilities as they went along, and that was their choice. So I am very excited to see that we're going to get a chance to take this project over and turn it into something our city can be proud of. And I know our swim coaches out there and our swimmers out there and our families are going to be excited to have this come back around. and just to see a whole new facility go in with park and everything attached. It's a great opportunity for our city. I'm very excited. So I'm going to ask, do we have a motion to apply for these funds?
So moved.
We have a motion by the mom next door and a second then by the dad in Florida. So with that, would you please poll the council? A big grin from our director of parks up there on the screen.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Councilmember Dale. Yes. Councilmember Eugenio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
Mayor Facto.
Very big yes. Absolutely excited about it. And then, and keeping in mind that the good news motions, we're going to move now to item E5, another one of those that we've all been hoping to see come around here. Item E5 is discussion and action on replacing the Eager Park splash pad shade structure. We're asking for approval to seek bids. So Tony, you want to tell us a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, so basically, we're following up on June 6th meeting where you guys gave us direction on the, just kind of simplify the design that would be the shade structure over the splash pad. That's exactly what we did. We went out, looked for a design that would function and that was simplistic enough to move forward. And I've attached an example of what it would be. That's what we're going to spec out to put over as a shade structure. And with council's blessing, we would be moving forward with seeking of bids.
Jeff?
I'm gonna make the motion and I look forward to tearing down the yellow, what was that damn tape on Friday.
Corinne?
You beat me to it, Jeff. You know, I've been asking for this shade for so long.
I knew that you
It's-
wanted to be on that.
Yeah, it's just,
We can reverse it if you want. I'll take the second.
Make the motion.
but
Corinne.
it's just, I'll make a motion, but it's just my luck that we're gonna get this done, and I hope that our park's open when we get it done. And
Don't
open
say
up.
hope.
Our
Okay.
parks are going to be open well before we get this up. That's going to happen.
All right.
So
And then-
our
An
families need our parks.
enthusiastic motion.
So again, good news. Please poll the council.
Definitely yes.
Councilmember Dale,
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yes.
Mayor Facto.
Yes. Thank
Hey
you.
Tony, got a question for you. Now that I have you there, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Tony, on this structure, what is our life expectancy on this structure?
Don't be a bummer. Tony, you're muted, so feel free just to say, I don't know, and get him out of the way.
Give him a thumbs up.
He's showing us 2 hands, 10 years. He ran out of fingers, so at least 10 years.
Great, better than the other one.
Well, he's not Inigo Montoya. He can't guarantee you 11. All right. That brings us to item E6. Purchase of equipment for the police department. You know, it used to be that it was our maintenance, it was our water and sewer that were always coming in asking for new toys. You know, I was Jackie that Robert and I were having to rein in on all the new shopping. Now it's Chief. So you want to tell us a little bit about what the Chief's looking for and why? Is he
Hi,
here?
good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Sergeant Sheffield. I'll be presenting.
Aw. All right.
So, yeah, the chief is off the hook for this one because I've been pushing for this also in all of our toys that we've been asking for. But the Imperial Police Department is requesting to purchase 4 Ford Explorer Police Interceptors from Sunrise Ford, located in Fontana. The need for this purchase is due to the increased maintenance costs, continued risk to officer safety, and limited fleet availability due to the age of the current units. As you all may know, our purchase of our Dodge Chargers took place in 2011, and they are, for lack of better terms, falling apart as day by day. So
I like your counsel. All
It
right.
did survive that.
what's that? I'm sorry.
It did survive. That vehicle did survive that chase we had recently.
Barely. So this fiscal year to date, the police department has already spent $12,390.02 in maintenance costs to keep our fleet up, which we only have 6 black and white units right now.
Fiscal year, so since July 1?
Yes,
Wow.
July 1 of this year.
Yeah.
So with those costs going up, we feel that this is going to obviously help out with that. The total cost of this purchase is going to be $248,325.88 from the development impact fees, and that is fully outfitted. And it's not to exceed. That's the not to exceed cost. I've learned through working with these past 4 that we've bought that Ford has actually been changing things yearly on these vehicles, and they're real small things like dashes and interior stuff. So the parts that the outfitter has to order, they're changing almost, weekly to try to get them in. So the prices have varied. So we hope that you guys will consider this, and I'll stand for any questions that you guys have.
All I got is a comment. Chief, I'm real happy to see that it's Fords. And another thing I like over this vehicle over your other ones is the other vehicles, I believe, are unibody construction. And the Ford Explorer is full frame. That's a much hardier automobile, and I'm glad that I think you guys are going to like those, and it's well deserved. So I can jump ahead of everybody else because I'm just going to make a motion.
And
Go ahead, Robert.
I saw something the other day that was a little rough to see, and I'm glad this is on the agenda. So I'll second your motion, Jeff.
Wonderful. All I'm going to say is I hope that we eventually buy some Prius units.
That would not get a first or a second.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think Jeff would have a big problem with that.
I would second that too.
We
Not
have a
happening.
motion and a second, and I want to ride in one of these days. A front seat though. Thank you. We'll save the back seat for Jeff. All right. Please poll the council. He doesn't have a thing to say.
I couldn't hear.
We polled you. Your vote?
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Dale,
Yes.
Councilmember Eugenio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker,
Yeah.
Mayor Beckman.
Yes. That's wonderful.
Mayor,
So-
this is Mara.
Yes, Chief.
Uh-oh.
Hey, first of all, I want to thank Max, or Sergeant Sheffield, to doing all this. He did an outstanding job and working with other departments in the city to get these vehicles. And I especially want to thank the council. I know this is a big ticket item. When you compare us to the city crew asking for equipment, it must be something really a big purchase. But I want to say thank you very much to City Council, the mayor, the men and women of Imperial Police Department. We always take our job seriously. We try to be the best, and we want to be number one. And for you guys to invest in the future of Imperial Police Department, we want to thank you guys. We are going to ask for more, but we want to thank each of you personally to saying yes to this, because it is an investment to the great Imperial Police Department. And I'm very proud of my partners. They deserve this. And again, we're going to get, no matter what happens with the city and what happens this week or whatever, we're still going to do our job. We're still going to continue trying to be the best for the city and for the citizens. So again, thank you guys very much for agreeing to this.
Well, like I said, I'm just, I know that we were very nice to Jackie for a long time there, and then held his feet to the fire. Now you're coming around. I'm hoping this isn't going to start a trend. If all of a sudden the city manager's office is looking for a couple Mercedes or something, we're going to have to talk.
Darren says in the market for a 2002 Tahoe.
I'm still saying Priuses. I'm telling you. All right.
I'm gonna have to do a ride along now in one of these new
Right?
units. The last one I went in was like 11 years old.
Do it while it still smells new.
Yeah.
Right? Here we go. Okay, item E7. Simple business matter, designation of a voting delegate and alternate for the League of Cities Annual Conference. Go ahead and explain what's going on with that this year. Debbie?
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Look around the table here.
As you know, the league holds an annual conference every year, usually September or October. This year, the league has canceled the physical conference, but they will be holding it virtually. The sessions will be held live in a virtual format. And one of the items that takes place at this conference is the annual business meeting, in which they do take action on resolutions that are presented that could eventually become league policy. At this time, the league is asking for us to designate our delegates. For that, they would like to have the names by the end of this month so that they can have time to get the materials out to our voting delegate. So I would like to have an alternate named as well as the voting delegate.
I would put my name forward if it's okay, just as a voting delegate. I'll be participating anyways, since it's all online. You know, hunting for the blind donkeys and everything else that goes along with that meeting. So is there anybody else that would like that position?
I'll make a motion for you.
All right. Is there a second? Nobody wants.
I guess I'll be the alternate.
All right. So we have a motion of me as first. You have a second as alternate. So is that your motion to have both of us as? Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
I'll second.
Thank you, Robert.
I don't want a second because it's too liberal for me. And
You know,
besides
the
that,
way we're going, you may not want us there.
if I go, which I said I'd never go again, but when I go, it's like watching paint dry. And if I have to watch it on a freaking screen, I'm
You
done.
know, we're not going to
Forget
make you.
it.
You're good.
Done.
You had fun last year.
For the two of us watching this stuff is like our
I'm
job.
done.
All right. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Councilmember Dale,
No.
Councilmember Udalio,
He doesn't want anybody to go.
Councilmember Tucker.
Yes.
Mayor Peckler.
Sure. Okay, that takes us through all of our action items. Do we have any, at this point, is there any point for any additional COVID-19 update? If not, I can wait till Friday.
Mr. Mayor, all that we would just like to remind those that may be watching that our deadline for our grant applications for small business assistance are due tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. That is for for-profit businesses to apply for up to $5,000 in assistance and that have faced hardship due to COVID-19. Thus far, we've received 11 applications.
I did see that the chamber had actually been promoting that for us as well, and that's
Yes.
really nice that they stepped in and trying to encourage businesses to do this. If anyone out there is an Imperial-based business and they would like to talk to the city about getting some extra assistance as we prepare to reopen, this can help in a lot of ways. Please reach out and contact our city staff tomorrow. Thank you. So what brings us to item F, reports, mayor and council member reports. Mr. Tucker?
I'm good.
Thank you. Mr.
Here
Genio?
Friday. Oh, you know I did.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry about that. Every night when I'm sleeping, I haven't heard the helicopters lately. Is there a reason? They're just not in town, or did they do something about it? I'm just asking.
I'm hoping that the hours got fixed. That was what we were asking for.
Maybe you're taking an Ambien at night or you stop.
It's that pillow Bernice keeps putting over your head. It's, good.
Good to hear.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Amparano, anything to report or comment tonight?
Just want to say today's decision not to vote was really hard, but like I said, we got to stand united, not divided. We're one team. We got to be Imperial strong, and just want to tell everybody to, stay safe. Thank you to the all city staff, all city workers. It's a great place to live in. So thank you for all hard work.
Thank you. Okay, now, Mr. Genio?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the first and foremost priority for me, and I'm sure the rest of the council will agree, is the safety of this community. With every decision that I make, I think about the safety measures and precautions that are being taken when we're considering opening. So as we proceed, I just want people to know that that is my priority. And if we could do so safely and we could also save businesses in the process, that would be my ultimate goal. And I think everyone else would agree that that would be their ultimate goal as well.
Thank you. Good point. Mr. Dale?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Debbie? Okay. Dennis?
Mr. Mayor, nothing from me this evening.
All right, thank you. Anything, Ms. Brown? Anything from the Planning Commission to report? Well, since two of you are here, no? All right, or Traffic Commission? No? All right, we do appreciate some of the motion there on some of the stoplights, stop signs and things. That's been great. Keep it up. Laura, anything from you? Anything from IT? Okay, then let's see, who am I missing? Police Department, any other reports?
Another report, Mayor.
Fire Department, anything else to report?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Parks? Thumbs up, thank you. Ember? Library Community Services?
Nothing to add, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Self, I do have one question. Are you still
Yes,
around?
sir. Yes, I am.
The last few days, driving to work in the mornings, I keep going by your crew there at the intersection of Threshold and LaBoucherie. Can you just, I'm just curious what the back truck is doing there every morning?
On where?
I'm seeing it looks like city truck at the intersection of Threshold and LaBoucherie on our side, up on the canal bank. It doesn't look, they're not IID.
Oh, no, that's, okay, yeah, that's the planning. We're working with the IAD, because they want to make that a 4-lane, I believe.
Right.
So we're potholing for utilities.
Oh, you're potholing. Okay.
Yeah, and then IAD comes out once we pothole, and then they hit it with their fancy gadget machine and mark everything. So this way, when they go to underground the canal, yeah, well.
Okay, I was just curious, since I go by this collection of trucks each morning, I've seen the markings, but I didn't know what the vac truck was doing, dropping the tube down there, and I couldn't figure that out.
Yep, that's it. There's potholing for utilities.
All right. Thank you. Did I get everybody? Then with that said, Chief Estrada, I did ask you, you have anything for us tonight?
No, I did answer, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Then with that, I'm just going to say I have always been proud to be a representative for the city of Imperial. I've been proud to sit here, whether it was as a planning commissioner or as a council member, and I'm more proud tonight, I think, than ever, because I know that this council wants what's best for our citizens. We want them to be able to be safe. And please know, as we go into Friday, I hope you'll tune in, we will be discussing what we can do to make business possible in this city and make it happen safely. Good night. God bless you. Stay safe.